Welcome to yet another interesting class in history. In today's lesson, you will learn how to assess historical sources, and under that, we shall look at an introduction to the topic, the meaning of libraries and its importance in assessing sources of history, the meaning of exhibitions, and its importance of assessing sources of history. And lastly, we shall discuss cultural festivals and the importance in assessing sources of history. How to assess sources of history refers to the various means the sources of history can be assessed. In order to assess the sources of history, the site or place must have heritage significance and cultural significance. The first we discuss today is library. What is a library? A library is a place where books are collected and stored for referencing. Library is a collection of sources of information and similar resources that are made available to a defined community or institution for reference or borrowing purposes. A library can either be in a physical building or in a digital form. For example, Uniben Library, Edo State Government Library, Novena University Libraries. Now, the importance of library in assessing sources of history is that it enables you to get information that have been passed for a very long time. For example, the Nigerian National Library, we can find newspapers that were published from the year 1960 to date. They are collected there, which serve as a good access to the knowledge of the history of Nigeria. Next up, we shall discuss cultural festivals. A cultural festival is an annual celebration of the customs and traditions of a group of people. This is referred to as an occasion for celebration or feasting, especially a day or time of religious significance in a community. Cultural festivals are celebrated at regular intervals, associated with cultural performances, exhibition and competition. Examples of cultural festivals in Nigeria include Eyo Festival, which is peculiar to the Lagos people, Osun Osogbo Festival, Calabar Carnival, that is being celebrated by people of Cross River, New Yam Festival, that is celebrated by the Ondo people, Ojode Oba Festival, which is celebrated by the Ijebu people, this Osun State people, Ofala Festival from Onitsha, which is celebrated by those in Anambra State, Argungu Festival, Argungu Fishing Festival, which is celebrated by people from the Kebbi State, Ekene Festival, which is celebrated by those from Agbaroto, Ughelli North in Delta State. When we visit such cultural festivals, it gives us an insight, that is, we are able to gain insight into the way of life of the people. Now, next up, we'll talk about exhibitions as a way of assessing sources of history. So, what are exhibitions? This is a public display of artifacts in a museum. Exhibition refers to an organized presentation and display of a selection of items and work of art. It can take place within a museum gallery, exhibition hall, and even in a world fair. In an exhibition with historical significance, pictures, objects, films, sculptures are displayed at a public event. Exhibition can either be done in an open space or in a museum. And lastly, we are going to talk about excursion to historical sites. A historical site is a place or venue of significant events in the past. So visiting of such sites gives us knowledge of the reality of such historical events. Historical sites are also called heritage tourism in some countries. Examples of historical sites in Nigeria are Oke Idanran Cultural Landscape in Ondo State, Obunike Cave in Anambra State, Osun Osogbo Sacred Grove in Osun State, Kano City Walls, Kano State, Suru Cultural Landscape, Madgali, Adamawa State, Erin Ijesa Waterfall, Osun State, Obodu Mountain Resort, Cross River State, the Great Benin Moat in Benin City, Edo State, Urban Hills, Cross River State, Olomu Rock, Ogun State, Igunushi Ekiti Warm Spring in Ekiti State. All these will help us to assess sources of history. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye and stay safe.